Hey everyone, you don't want to know what's going on in Aiken, you want to know what's shaking Aiken. Welcome back, I'm Brian Katonic, Aiken native and real estate agent with Remax Tattersall, and thanks again so much for joining the show. It's now November, which is mine and probably one of your favorite time of the year. There's so much to do in Aiken, November and December, between Thanksgiving, between Christmas, between all kinds of stuff, and we're going to be talking about those things over the next month or so you don't miss any of the activities going on in Aiken. So we got a great two guests coming up a little bit later. Two people of the Steeplechase Association, because we have the Steeplechase, the Fall Steeplechase coming up this Saturday. So we're going to learn about the history of it, how they ended up at the new track and all that sort of stuff. But first I was going to touch on a couple of things in the news. One thing kind of sad, always having a business shuts its door. But Red Bull, have you ever been to Red Bull out on Whiskey Road? They opened originally in 2011. It was kind of different Asian type place. They closed their door just a couple of weeks ago. Closed their door, and according to the website, it is a permanent closure. So sorry that they've left us. There is so much competition in the restaurant market here. I'm sure it's difficult to compete. But sorry that Red Bull is no longer with us. Another interesting thing in the news this week has to do with a building located at 433 Whiskey Road. And you've probably passed by it 1,000 times and wondered, why is that building right there? Well, it's a church. It has been the first church of Christ Scientists actually since 1971. So think about the corner of Whiskey and South Boundary. Just go up a little bit and heading toward the south side is there on your right. So it has been a church location now, 50 plus years. And that came about today to build a church in that location. There's no way that would happen. That's a strong residential area. Super close to Hitchcock Woods. You basically go out the back door and reach Hitchcock Woods. And so it was sold in May for $425,000 to Scott Giddeth and Kimberly Kimbrell. Okay, interesting name. But they bought it in May for $425,000, and their idea was to redo the structure and put a house there, which goes along with what that area needs. Like I told you, if someone came and bought that property today and said, hey, we're going to build a church there, there's no way it would pass muster. But since it was a church, they want to change it to a residence. Mr. Giddeth and Mr. Kimbrough had to go in front of the Aiken Design Review Board with their plans for their house. So according to the Aiken Standard, there was a good bit of debate upon the plans that they had. So two concerns the board had is, one, the garage at the end of the house was actually going to be taller than the house itself. They wanted a very big garage. Also, the middle of the house was going to be designed in a unique way so that the middle of the house, the roof slope was going to be at its highest pitch in the middle and then slope down to both sides. Something that is interesting is the architect for the project is McDonald Law. One interesting point is that the architect for the project is McDonald Law. Mr. Law is a well-respected architect. He's been an architect for decades and has been on the Design Review Board for over 20 years. However, since he was an architect, he did recuse himself from the discussion as well as the vote. In the discussion between the Design Review Board and the owners, one of the biggest issues was the garage. Pat Corey, member of the board, was very adamant that she did not like the garage, but the overall concept was fine. However, Mr. Giddeth said he wanted the garage that way and thought it was appropriate. A vote was held and the plan failed on a 3-2 vote. So immediately after the vote, two of the people who voted against the plan reached out to the homeowners and said that they would be willing to work a compromise. However, the homeowners were very adamant they did not want to do a compromise. Therefore, their plan failed, and unless they come back with substantial changes to the Design Review Board, they could not come back for a year. So we'll just have to watch and see. Will the homeowners come back with a different plan and try to rebuild in a different way? Or will they simply try to sell their property and recoup their $425,000 investment? Either way, I hope something can be done, as something besides the church building needs to be in that historic part of Aiken. Hey everyone, it's that time of year where you're going to see people that you haven't seen for a long time. And you know what you need? You need to be looking good. Good and fly. So how do you do that? Go down to Blue Cottage Salon and Spa and see Carrie. She'll work that hair, new color, new style, whatever you need, she'll take care of you. So when those people see you, they'll be saying, whoa, where'd they come from? So give her a call, 803-221-5600. 5946. That's Carrie at Blue Cottage Salon Spa and Historic Cottage in downtown Aiken. Hey, everybody. Well, we got a real treat today. As you know, one of the hallmark things in Aiken to do each year is go to the Aiken Steeplechase. We used to just have a spring one, but now we have a spring and a fall one. So we're joined today by two people closely associated with the race. We have Frank Mullins, the president of the Aiken Steeplechase Association, and Jessica Miller, who is the race director. And guys, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So, Frank, we'll start with you. How did you get involved with the Steeplechase Association, being on the board?
Well, I've had a long history in horses, through polo and then some flat track racing. So that was one of the connections. And then the other connection is I'm a real estate developer. The Steeplechase Association knew they needed to move. So it kind of fit to bring me on the board to, once the property was acquired, to figure out how to develop it. So that's kind of my, bailiwick.
Gotcha. And so you being president of the board, I know a lot of times it's nice to have the title, but then it comes with a lot of work. So what do you do in that position?
I do mostly what I do is fundraising. I'm also on the National Steeplechase Association board. So I represent the Aiken Steeplechase there to try to elevate us from a second tier race. Our goal is to become a first tier race, and I think we are there now. Okay. So I'm kind of the public face, and then I do some of the organization, but Jessica really does the heavy lifting on making it work for the race for sure.
Right. And Jessica, how long have you been with the Steeplechase Association?
I'm in my 8th year with the Aiken
Wow.
Steeplechase.
Okay, good. Are you from Aiken, or where'd you come from?
Yes, sir. I'm an 8th generation Aikenite, so born and raised in Aiken. Grew up going to the Aiken Steeplechase as well.
Okay, so if you can, tell us some history about how long has the Steeplechase been going on in Aiken?
Sure. The Aiken Steeplechase began in 1930 in Hitchcock Woods. It was run across over the old Aiken drag lines.
Okay.
A lot of our fall steeplechase races you'll see have names coinciding and kind of remembering our history back from Hitchcock Woods. We have the Cathedral Isle, we have the Thomas Hitchcock, we have the Juac Hollow. But a lot of our 3 founders for the Aiken Steeplechase, Temple Gwathmey, who was a jockey, Thomas Hitchcock, and Harry Worcester Smith, all founded the Aiken Steeplechase and ran that first race in Hitchcock Woods.
How about that? So when did they move over to Bruce's Field? Do you know that?
Well, we're in the 31st running for our fall race. Okay. And then we're approaching our 58th year for the spring. So I believe in the 1950s or 70s.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna be 58 this year, so it's probably I was born in 67, so probably around 67.
The 60s, mid 60s. Yeah. Yes, sir.
So for either one of you, a lot of people, they love going to the races, but they'll say, guys, why did they switch locations and everything? I know the answer, but why don't you explain, why did the Steeplechase move from Bruce's Field to the current location?
Do you want me to do that, Jessica?
Sure. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, Brian, the reason is that the horse activities over at Bruce's Field were growing. They needed more space. We were growing and needed more space. It was the only way for us to really go out of a second tier race into a top tier race, is to have a more purpose-built track and to have more room to do things. So it was just a natural evolution of 2 successful horse venues needing room for their own individual things. So Bruce's Field had a more the horse activity over there had more of a presence at Bruce's Field, so it made sense for us to move. And our track was not irrigated, and it was pretty flat. Now what we have is a purpose-built track with banks to to keep the horses at a safer, angle when they run. And then we can also irrigate, which has come in handy this year since we had a drought. And I think we've had 3 races canceled because of the drought.
Wow.
They didn't have irrigation. So we can irrigate, and we have a fantastic track. So that's why we left. It was just time to do it, to go our own way, for the Bruce's Field stuff to go their own way. And we both benefited. We both have a great relationship. We work back and forth helping each other to this day.
Right. And Frank, to me, I think the track, it seems much bigger than the old track, and certainly more parking, right?
There's more parking spaces. Yeah, this is a bona fide mile track on the inside. So we have a lot more. The viewing is better. It's just better across the board.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Jessica, how do the spring race compare to the fall race? What's the attendance for both races approximately?
Sir, our fall race draws a crowd of around 8 to 10,000, and our spring race draws a crowd of close to 30. And it grows. Both are growing each year.
Okay. Now I saw on the website there's going to be corgi races this year. Is that right?
Yes, sir. We've added corgi races as another exciting activity we have on the day. So we'll have 26 corgis racing for a corgi championship.
Okay, that's fun. That's fun. Frank, as far as the horses that come to the races, I believe that they're on a circuit that goes up and down the East Coast. Is that right?
That's true. That's right.
Okay. And is it right that we're the first race of the year and the last race of the year?
That is correct. That is correct.
Is that just how the schedule works out, or is there a reason for that?
No, well, we changed the schedule around so Aiken could be the beginning and ending of the horse racing season, and that works out really well because the southern meets, mostly the South Carolina meets, are all in November. If Charleston had happened, it would have been a week ago. I think this week is Camden, and then we follow it. So it makes a lot of sense for that. We're going to start sharing the last race of the year, but that's only by a day, meaning we run on Saturday, and then Camden will run on Sunday. So it'll be what we're trying to do is share that to help elevate all the races and kind of develop ourselves as a South Carolina juggernaut of horse racing.
How about that?
Yeah.
So Jessica, I know you guys have a new thing this year. The old days of coming down to the office and buying tickets and get your decals for the car and everything, those days are gone, right?
Yes, sir. We've transitioned to electronic ticketing.
Okay. So if people want to get tickets for the race, and folks, it is not this Saturday, but next Saturday, where do they go to get those tickets?
They can go to our website at aikensteeplechase.com and then to our event page. From there, they'll select on the fall steeplechase event and they can purchase their tickets. You can buy tickets online before you leave your house and come to the gate. So at any point during the day on race day, they can purchase tickets.
Okay. And so then they'll show up at the gate and just show their phone and get scanned phone like they do at football games and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, sir. And if they wanted to, you're able to print them out as well. When you purchase your ticket, you'll get an email confirmation from our ticketing provider, which is ShowPass. And with that, they send an electronic ticket. In addition, attached to your email, you have a PDF option of your ticket. So if you choose to print it as a backup, you certainly can. We just recommend that if you use the electronic tickets, it's best to add them to your Apple Wallet, especially for the spring steeplechase because of the cell tower and so many people, cell service and so many people on site. It's that once they're in your Apple Wallet, you'll be able to retrieve them at any time.
You know, that's smart to say that, Jessica, because I've been to many a college football game where people are frantically holding their phone up to the sky trying to get an internet connection so they get their tickets. And like you said, you just put it to the wallet and then you don't need the internet connection at that time. Another question, Jessica. I know for the spring, the rail side spots are always sold out for forever. For the fall race next week, are there still rail side spots or interior spots for cars?
Yes, we won't sell out of parking for the fall. And we don't sell out for the spring either. We have plenty of infield and outfield parking, especially with at the new facility to accommodate everyone. For rail sides in the fall, we are selling them still now, and we have them available, but you will need to purchase a rail side no later than this coming Tuesday. Though we'll stop selling rail sides on Tuesday this coming week, but we'll have all the gates will be open to drive in and park for the $40 parking pass.
Good, good, good. So Frank, I know each year y'all kind of do new things to the track to make it more user friendly. What are some things y'all are planning on the next few years to help a great environment for the patrons?
Yeah, well, we added some kind of some chutes that go to the gate crossings to help funnel traffic better, and I think it'll make it safer. That was one addition this year. But the next thing that we plan to do is add, I call it an ellipse, but it's really it's a ring between the what will become the barns, which are we have temporary barns now, but we're working on new barns, permanent barns there. We'll have barns and then ellipse in the middle as the horses go to the track by the tower, so the horses can come in and circle, and you can go in there and look at the horses. They kind of parade around before the race, and then the winner can go in there at the end of the race. And that's a common feature at Saratoga and all the other big race tracks. So we plan to add those additions soon.
Are there any plans in the future to have more permanent restrooms versus the portalettes? And that's always the one complaint. It's like, well, hey, it's a huge place, but I just wonder, is that ever in the future?
In the future, certainly. Our plan, Ryan, is to develop this entire property as a horse park of sorts, and one that gives things that don't exist now in Aiken. We are very friendly with all the other horse disciplines, and they are with us, so we don't want to compete with them, and we don't. But there's still some things that don't exist, so we plan to add that, and one of those things will be bathrooms as we move along here. We know that's a big issue, and that's coming soon down.
Okay. And Jessica, I assume in the fall race, just like the spring race, there's an area for vendors where you can buy shirts or hats or cigars or that kind of stuff.
Yes, sir. We'll have at the fall steeplechase, we have our village of shops. So we have artisans and vendors from across the southeast. Food trucks also are in there, and our Budweiser libation station with a live music stage. Then we also in the fall have our paddock playground where we have about 10 nonprofits that will be there offering games and activities for children. And we also have Adora Farms on site with a petting zoo.
Oh, really?
So we have a lot of things going on race day, including a carriage parade, a parade of hounds, and our new addition this year, the corgi races.
Okay. And so on race day, gates open at what time?
Gates open at 8. Gates
Oh, really?
will
Wow.
close. Gates will close to the infield at noon. So if you're parking at the rail or in the infield, you'll need to be parked by noon. Our opening ceremonies begin at noon. And I apologize, I forgot to mention we also have our stick horse races at 11:30.
Oh, that's always fun.
So yes, but then our first race will be at 1:00. And the last race, we'll have 6 races, all jumping races, and the last race will run at 3:30.
Okay. Frank, I want to challenge you to a one-on-one stick race right now. Do you take the challenge?
You'll definitely beat me. I pulled a groin muscle playing polo, so I'm not even a fast walker right now.
Okay, good enough. Good enough. So, folks, if you haven't been to the new steeplechase track, it's a beautiful place. One of the great things about it is, compared to the old tracks, it's so easy to get in and out of. You almost have more gates there, right, than the old track?
We
We
do.
do. We have 5 gates, and at the old facility, we only had 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Like before, you'd line up for half an hour to get in and out, but it's so much easier now. So come out there. It's a great day, lots of fun. If you've never been to the fall one, it's a bit more casual. I kind of like it better, quite honestly, for that reason. So, Frank, I got one more very important question to ask you, not steeplechase related. Well, folks, Frank's stepson Patrick dates my daughter Amy, and they're both down at school at Statesboro.
Yeah.
Amy wants to know how much is he spending on her Christmas present this year?
A lot.
For Amy, you need to spend a lot. She's got very high taste, so it's yeah. Don't let him take your credit card and go to the jewelry store. We don't
No,
need that.
he's a very responsible young man. He's been working on that on his own. I know he's worked several side jobs, and he's a great saver.
Right.
So proud of Patrick.
No, he's a great kid. So hey, Jessica, Frank, thank you so much for coming on Shaking Aiken. Guys, come on out there. We'll see you there. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, great questions. Thank you, Brian. Thanks a lot.
People are always asking me, Brian, what's going on with the real estate market in Aiken? Is it up? Is it down? What's going on? So let me tell you. So let's look at October 2024 versus the same period, October 2023. So in 2024, the average list price was $310,000 compared to $299,000 last year. That's up 3.3%. The median sales price is almost the same. In October 24, it was $290,000. Last year, it was $292,000. So down $2,000 as compared to a year ago. That's only down 0.9%. For the year, the average list price and average sales price is up almost 4%. So how many houses have been sold this year compared to last year? So far through today, 2,737 units have been sold this year compared to the same period last year. 2,576 units were sold through the same period in 2023. That's up 6%. So folks, the Aiken County market has remained steady. Much of the state has not. Much of the state actually is down a bit for the year, but we've stayed steady. People are buying. People are still coming from other areas. So thought you might want to know that. If you have any real estate questions, you know you can call me at Remax Tattersall. Okay, folks, that does it for our show today. Thanks again so much for Frank Mullins and Jessica Miller for coming on and talking about the steeplechase. Come on out here this Saturday. The gates open early, as Jessica said. It's going to be a fun time. I'll be there. Come on up. If you tell me, hey, Brian, what's shaking Aiken? I'll buy you a drink. So, again, you don't want to know what's going on in Aiken. You want to know what's shaking in Aiken. See you next week.